Walking from the castle, I heard a shout thrown from the casement above. "Sir, you are a goose!" A vague memory of what I'd seen, overwashed with so much not understood. Youth does that to you. Like you're travelling by touch, and you don't even know if there's ground in front. And the wind in your breaths, intense, thinning out the coat. The golden glow of what I tasted in that golden hall, in that air behind, the holy vessel passing by. I leave now without a heart, sent into a wasteland, and a knight lays there dead and another wounded, waiting for more than the nothing I said. Good afternoon. Hello, Poetry Show 34 on Friday, 4 o'clock, and it's Good Friday, Easter weekend. I titled this one a little bit cheekily, Something for the Weekend. And some of you will know that reference. But these are poems kind of intended for this weekend, Easter weekend. At least some of them are. There's some connections here. There's a mixture in these poems of different mythologies. Some of them overtly come from Christian mythology, other comes from elsewhere. That first poem I just read you is called Grail Castle, and is an episode from the story of the Holy Grail, which in itself is a weaving together of Christian themes and pagan themes of rebirth and such. And I'm going to read a little bit later on 3 or 4 more touched on by that Grail story, which is something that meant quite a lot to me as I was growing up. Amongst other things, one of the main episodes is of a young, inexperienced knight coming to the Grail Castle, being shown the Grail and the wounds of the Fisher King, and not saying anything about it, not questioning it, not asking, and subsequently finding himself trapped by a missed opportunity, the wasteland only ahead of him. I'll come back to that later on. This first half, I want to do these poems, which I don't know if these were written with a Christian theme in mind, or whether, having looked at it, I saw, oh, that reminds me of a Bible story, and so I gave it a title to link it firmly with that. Like this very short one, which I've called Jacob, having seen that it talks with a wrestling match with an angel, which is one of the episodes from Jacob's life. Jacob. Once I had killed him, the angel got up and walked away. His blood was on the pumice, and the talon grip eased. He knew, and I was forgiven. I don't think Jacob actually kills the angel in his dream, but certainly a wrestling match, perhaps it's a wrestling match that neither could win, or he found that in the end he couldn't win. So I took it in a slightly different direction. That was an Old Testament story. The rest of these are more tied to the life of Jesus, whose festival, of course, Easter, as we know it is. I read this one not so long ago on another poetry show, but I thought I'd include it here. And it was written, again, without any particular myth in mind. But having written it and seen what it is, I thought, yes, that's the story of someone seeking to come back to life. And so I called it Lazarus. When you rose, and they asked you to stand, all those kind hands pressing at your back, did you? No. Not alive enough yet. Not alive. As he left, and their tears taken in his cupped palms, you being brought to the door, showing in the sun, did you blanch, carrying the weight? They have not been dead. They only know the wonder of the miracle. You cold in the marrow, frightened of the movement in your blood. Wonder at this foreign heartbeat, not alive enough yet. Not alive. Because coming back from trauma is not instant and does take time. And this and one other in particular, I often share as text on this week, over this weekend, but it's nice to read it. It's called Good Friday. I was born in paradise. Now I will return there. I give you back your wounds and hurts. They are not mine. Give me the wrongs you have hidden from me. I am ready to face them. I have the scars upon my body, my psyche, my soul. I am ready to let them dissolve. A cage of birds to the sky and heal. I have the chains I wear to weigh me. I unlock them and let them fall free. I have the spirit that flounders unhindered. I place it in earth to sweep out the ashes, to flourish through flowers and fire. Going back now a long time to a poem I wrote. It's up to date. Back in 1989. It's from the last century. And now looking at it, it does, I don't know, it feels there's a touch of the teenage angst in it, although I must have been 25 at the time. But the angst of growing up. So that may be too heavily, it's hard for me to see dispassionately, it may be differently for you. But it's a story of a lad's growing up in exceptional circumstances, looking for what perhaps we all hope for. Steps to Golgotha. There. Do you see him run? The virgin son. What What, Joseph's boy? No, not Joseph's. I carry a load for my father, as he asked me. He lets me sit quiet amongst the shavings and watch his working. Mother calls me Angel. He scowls in his efforts, chipping and chiselling, shaping the living wood into useful goods to trade for bread. Give me a blessing, Father. Father? What, boy? Do you mean me? Young Jesu? I run up the hill and curl into stones. One offers me kingdoms, but not what I want. I carry a weight for my father, since he's older now, cannot see so clear. I tell him how the sky glories with our eyes shut. Mother calls me prophet. He growls in his efforts, slurping and shrivelling, taking his shaping amongst the sawdust, staring out at darkness. Give me a standing, Father. Father. What, boy? I can't hear you. Young Jesu. I run from the hill, dragged back to cross, my arms open, waiting, offer a word. Father, please embrace your boy. Why are you forsaking me? There. There. Do you see him run? The Virgin's son. What? Joseph's boy? (1989) makes it, what, 32 years old? Nearly as old as me. Another one I read fairly recently, but I'll resurrect it now, called The Tomb. This is the point of the story. The empty tomb. It is just that. The body is not there, and all that was buried, it is not dead. Call it forgiveness. Call it self-care. It walks. And a silent tomb? It talks, it says, I love you. It says, this is the point of the story. Something his mother knew. That it was something no one else saw. That it required silence. Horrible silence. The noise obscuring vision, locust plagues, igniting shrubbery to hear his voice, waiting for the sea to part. Put away. His sandals sitting dry amongst the sawdust. Giggling at the awfulness of words. He takes his leave. Easter Sunday. I think I died on Friday. I cannot tell. you left me hanging. It was dark. The cloud drank the light like it was rain, and then it drowned me. Hanging, drowning, now I'm quartered. Ha! They took my body. It wasn't mine to move. But they entombed me, kind of them, really. The emptiness and sparsity became a chamber for my heart. Death has something of that curtain-rending feel, that convoluting, valves parting. But I refuse to go. This passing will be a bud unfurling, I decreed. A bloody palm print upon the stone, because nothing comes free of work. I passed through the door that had no wall or door to it at all. The blue blood drinking in the air. On Sunday, I arose. And one more along this vein. Somebody called Angel Came. The angel came, showed me the flakes under his curled skin, the blood on his nails, the jizz back of his throat. There was vomit on his shirt, more blood, menstrual, on his thigh, carpet burn on the knee. When he opened his wings, there were gaps of ripped feathers cut in his underarms. The veins beneath his toes were shot. He offered himself for £50, £40, £20. He sang, "I'll be your baby, anything you want." Taken from his mother, taken by his father, taking sharp edges for his supper, taking the word of God to be housed in the sand. The angel broke his own back in the struggle, flashing his arse from the ladder, fell and flew and fellatio. I do not know how to be so pure. God does not know how to be so pure. Feed him. He is an angel. He brings good news. So that's just about halfway. And as I've been doing on the poetry shows, I've been introducing a couple of other poets, reading from some of their published works in lieu of being able to have a special guest. Often I've been reading from their published books. If I don't have a published book, I'm reading from an anthology. And I said this is going to be a mix of different mythologies, and the second half will be much more so. But as a primer to that, I'm going to read from this anthology called Full Moon and Foxglove, an anthology of witches and witchcraft, which was published by Three Drops Press. Kate Garrett, the editor. I was lucky enough to have a piece of my own included in this, but I'm not going to read that. I'm going to read instead by two friends, one who I do know personally and one I only know online. But I'm glad to have both of their acquaintances. So this first one I want to read is by Bethany W. Pope, called An Offering of Myrtle, Cyprus and Honey. Hyssop, sorry. And it goes like this. When the white goddess appears in your dreams, and never mind what mundane mask she wears, gather your treasures, choose funeral hymns. Your story is drawing to a sharp close. Your blood will slake your thirsty ancestors. When the white goddess appears in your dreams, it doesn't matter what form she chooses to show herself to you, queen or stewardess. Gather your treasures, choose funeral hymns. Her smile is sweet, she will give tender kisses, she'll press your cheek into her soft, fragrant breasts. When the white goddess appears in your dreams, in motherly or erotic guises, she'll lead you down lightly wooded paths. Gather your treasures, choose funeral hymns, say goodbye to your family, your lovers. You'll soon stop worrying about their hearts. When the white goddess appears in your dreams, gather your treasures, choose funeral hymns. An Offering of Myrtle, Cyprus and Hyssop by Bethany W. Pope. If there was a second one of hers in here, I would read it now, but there's only one from each poet, so I have to turn to another for my second. And this is a friend who I've read from before because of her book. Both of these have other books, but Bethany's sadly I don't have. But Kathy's I do, Book of Bones. But this poem is not from that book. It's a poem called They Say. And it gives an OS grid reference, SP22536 65012. In the second winter of the plague, forked lightning struck an oak that stood alone above the valley, left its trident bones to guard the unploughed fields. They say that daughters of the land returned to dance among the elder bushes, crones reclaiming earth. One night, a traveller in hood and garter found the place at dusk as vents of smoke arose from nowhere. Found a dozen cats who drummed with mandrake roots. They say the feline sisters fed him cloves and wine, drew circles around his feet, and sang him to the flames. They Say by Kathy G. Both of those can be found in this, Full Moon and Foxglove, published by 3 Drops Press. And I'll put details of that in the comments when we're done. How are you doing out there? I say always that I've no real idea of who's watching, if anybody's watching. The gizmo doesn't clock up views or likes or even who you are, unless perhaps you wave or send a comment or something. But whoever's out there, thank you. It's much appreciated. So the first one I read was the Grail Castle, and taken from this epic legend myth of the Holy Grail, which is such a blend of Celtic mysticism and Christian mysticism. The Cauldron of Rebirth, the blood of the of holiness, a stone, a plate, the bowl drunk by Jesus at the Last Supper, drunk from, all wound together in this story of missed opportunity and quest for redemption. A central character in that epic is Amfortas, the fisher king, who lies wounded through the thighs for a misdeed, a misdemeanour of his from years gone. And he sits there with the Grail, hoping that one day a young knight will come by, will see the Grail and will ask the vital question. And in so doing, he will be healed. So this is the poem called The Fisher King, just as Percival has arrived and witnesses the procession of the Grail and the bleeding lance, the two hallows. I do not know how I came to this wound, which leaves me thus, lying in biers. I need your help now, child. Inquire for me. I cannot now join in the sporting, the jousting, the quest. All that is left me, squire, is to fish for you. 'Tis heralded wide that heathen spears did pierce both my thighs. I deny any knowledge, so ask me, my sister's son. The lance you see bleeding can scrape out the fires that rage in my blood upon Saturn's return, but pyres they are not. I live nor I die, speak or I burn. My company wails at the sight of the Grail. The stone is unturned, the tomb still in earth. I plead to your need to ask me what ails me. What is this wonder? Who does it serve? If this question finds no answer in another's heart, if this song will find no echo in another's ear, if this knowledge lights no recognition in another's eye, no lurch of I know that, no shiver as the chains fall clear, if this touch is only felt upon my palm, if this sorrow only pours unchecked upon my hidden cheek, if this vision only holds an empty room, a face that turns away, the vacancy behind your back, if this shallow dish, this stone, this plain yet jewelled cup, this head left mouthing its distress amongst the blighted trees remains ignored within the wilderness, then I might think myself a fisher king, and wounded through the thighs might come to doubt the hope that love once dead may yet again arise. Spiral cup, ravelled from ether, I hold it up to the light. A drop into my empty vessel burns like a lance. I look up from my fullness, happy at last to see whence it came. Look up to the puncture, the wound I am mourning. There's a theme in that story that may be very pertinent in unexpected ways today. When those who are suffering, unseen, in a kind of silence in that it's not heard, no matter how loud they are, then that wound remains. But if those of us who are able can say what is said to be one of the Grail questions, what is it that ails you? If we can ask that and then listen to the reply, rather than listening in denial, as so many seek to do at the moment, in a wilderness of their own making. So, leave the Grail Castle for now, and looking over what I have, looks like 4 more poems I'd like to offer you on a much more openly pagan theme. Well, actually, no, this one is a bit in between. There's a process called Apotheosis. I think that's the right word. I've got my doubts now. When someone who is deemed to be mortal is transformed into a god. People would like to say that some of the old gods were actually human leaders, revered so that they achieved apotheosis and became gods. Hercules, a demigod, is said to become that. But alongside that is the common belief or teaching that the monotheistic God is both immortal, omnipotent, and omniscient, all-seeing, all-hearing, everlasting. I wonder what it would be like if it was us, if it were we who granted, bestowed such characteristics. Apotheosis. And I grant you immortality. The price will be this: that none shall die because you live, that none shall hate for their having less, that none who have known you will not say, I forgive. And I grant you omnipotence. The ask will be this: that nothing will you do but in all eyes' sight, that no one shall be done upon without their yes, that none shall have no knowledge of their own sweet might. And I grant you omniscience. This will be the cost: that your greatest joy in heaven be to see others learn, that none be left to mourn what they fear to be lost, that you bow to the wisdom you did not earn. If you may all these strictures keep, I might be the first to give you worthship. So, yes, coming back to more overtly pagan themes, another hanging god, another sacrificed god, but this time a god who sacrifices himself to himself. Odhinn, god of wisdom, god of poetry. This is something called Odhinn on the Tree. I fell from the tree, its fist on my throat, hanging always for the wind swinging. None in my lungs, naked, empty air and the pissing breeze between my legs. For the push of wings, pride of the eagle, blowing my bones to a blaze and fingering to take me true, tasting Odhinn. One line aloft, on layers of the world age, I saw the 4 square pegs, half of the head held in their stumpy arms, and named them Dwarf, North and South, East, and his brother, Bone Rim in their hands, eyeless sky. Odhinn saw another path to unnamed wisdom. And the man who came most feathered, she took her time, taking looks, stiller than the tree, stood, and I saw in her there and in her gone, with man working, weft threads drawing, breath after breath, bringing, and I saw in red lines roaring on her thigh, bleeding to her feet, bloodman casting runes upon the earth, ravens calling. When she left me, weapon man hanging, my own blood gathered, blistered into seed, into need, I screamed, reached, scratched the earth, the bloody dirt, dug for tines, the rune words, read whispers of all that is let go of, all that passes, all that follows. Feather-bold man, she of such mane, makes me Odhinn. Beside that, the story of Odhinn hanging from the tree for 9 nights. At the end of it, learning, seeing the runes at his feet, reaching down, grabbing them, those holy sounds and symbols, essentially speech, essentially thought. Against that, I offer this called self-sacrificed, to compare what the outside might look like compared to the inside of such a holy act. Small slivers of wood from the same slim branch to half a finger's length and split to make a smooth side. Looking closer, there are scratches against the grain, long staves and smaller, coloured red. The hand above has a thread of scab. Careful not to tread them into earth, or to stand in the clear waters of the spring. They bring the body down, spear torn, with a throat red raw with wisdom. Self-sacrificed. So, one last one. Thank you for sticking around to see all of these. Listen to all of these if you have. Much appreciated. I have been doing these every other day of late, but most recently, with things being a bit disrupted, it's hard to maintain that every other day pattern. Once we're settled house-wise, I'm sure it'll be easier. The video for this will be on the timeline after, if you fancy looking back at anything. I'll put the set list into the comments, along with details about Bethany and Kathy. And also put a link to the previous poetry show. As far as we know, The name of this festival, Easter, is not a Christian name, though the festival obviously is. The Anglo-Saxon scholar, the Venerable Bede, in his book, has one line in which he says that Eostre is the name of a goddess, so loved by the people before they became Christian that on their conversion they were reluctant to leave her behind. And according to him, the name Eostre, this being Eostre Monath, or Easter month, attached to the festival in a way that I don't think it has done on the continent. Some would like to argue that it's derived from Ishtar, but as far as I know, there's no connection between them at all. And Bede might have got it wrong. He might have misheard. He might have made up the story. But Eostre, and this being Eostertide, me and several other co-religionists have often at this time of year met together to greet her in the spring, to say thank you to Hretha, the harsher goddess who's seen us through the winter, and to welcome her as a bringer of light and growth, fertility and joy. And this is a poem called For Those Who Wish to Meet the Gods at Eastertide. When you first come to meet the gods, remain yourself in all things. Do not wear some reflection of me, of another, of yourself, in need of convincing. But meet them with your feet below you, chest to the sky, head thrown back. Let them stare you in the eye. The drum of your blood, the wash of your breath, those senses you have that strike on the world like a flint, the fire you crave. The explosion another ignites with their love, the line through your mother's, the chain of your father's, the push of the earth, the pull of the heavens, the fine and glorious lights mounted the warp and weft of every cloth that cloaked and revealed you. Whatever it was that gave these to us, meet them here. There will be one who knows you, who knows your need for judgment and where you ring true when struck on the forge. There will be one who calls you child when he says your name, will hear your hair grow and warn you at the end. There will be one who hangs the words on your lip, carries in his beak your need to speak. There will be one who has seen every strand of the weave, your every thread, and what you will spin into being. There will be one who comes, who knows the magic of the roaring sow, the boar. Every drop of hers is gold. There will be one with both her faces, hiding nothing. She will see you at your least and make you richer for it. There will be one before whom there is nothing but surrender, gladly given, fully taken, crowned for it too. There is one who will keep you in the orchard, however aged, sees the heartward, always youngest, always eldest. There is one who will sing your name on every branch of the tree, play and play upon it, alive on the harp and on the breath. There will be one with the wild side, harder than the ice, the scathing shadow, looking for your love and laughter. There will be one with a restless tide, with feet adorned with rings of silver scale and fishes' wings, will take you deeper to a sister's side. There will be one, or is he too, like to make you less, to make you more? He has a brother on the road to bring it all back. And there is one who is bigger than the sky, shakes the earth, with a mind that goes far deeper than thought, soft flames in his beard. And there will be the one they come to honour, come to greet, to say farewell to winter's sleet and thanks to all who saw us through, and welcome she who brings the summer's beat, out of the east, out of the earth, in to the feast. Let us honour her return.